Hey everybody, it's time. Look right over here at the screen. Are you looking? Are you listening? Are you holding really still? Good. Let's say today's bottom line, learn to be content on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Learn to be content. Way to go. What does the bottom line mean? Contentment means happiness or learning to be happy with what we have. But this isn't a happiness that comes and goes. Contentment is a long-lasting feeling that we have to choose to have every single day. Did you hear that? Contentment isn't something that just happens, it's something that we learn. You guys learn stuff in school like all the time, right? You know, like reading or math stuff. You didn't just wake up one day knowing that stuff. You had to take time every single day to learn it. It's like when you're younger, you learn things like 1 + 1 = 2. Or 5 - 2 = 3. Then, when you're older, you have to learn times tables or how to multiply numbers. Things like 5 × 2 = 10. That's right. Or 5 × 5 = 25. That's correct, 25. When you learn these things, it takes some practice. You have to choose to put in the work to get better and better at it. Contentment is the same way. We have to learn how to be content in every situation. It's not always easy, and it's gonna take a lot of practice and a lot of help from Jesus. So, if Jesus wants us to be content in every situation, we have to learn how to be content. That reminds me of a story in the Bible, in the book of Philippians. The book of Philippians is a letter that the Apostle Paul wrote to the church of Philippi. And get this, he wrote this book while he was in jail. Now, Paul wasn't a criminal. He was in jail for preaching and teaching about Jesus. In this letter, he talks to the church at Philippi about being content. Hold up. He's in jail and he's talking about being content. He talks about learning to be content with what he has. Whether Paul had a lot or a little, Paul said that he had learned to be content in every circumstance. We're talking about Paul, who was in prison. I don't know about you, but if I was in prison, I would have a hard time being content. But Paul knew that no matter what he needed, he trusted that God would provide for him. Paul learned to be content. Say, learn to be content with me on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Learn to be content. See, we don't need more things to be content. We don't need a new shiny toy or a lot of money to be content. Can you imagine how hard it would be for Paul if he wasn't content? It would make his situation a lot harder than it already was. But Paul chose to be content. He learned to be content every single day, and that helped him make it through some of his hardest challenges. So, what does it look like to be content? Well, that's easy. For starters, we have to be happy with what we already have. We don't need a shiny new toy or the next best thing. We can choose to be happy with what we already have. Remember, God gives us everything we need. And when we choose to be thankful for these things every single day, we can learn to be content. Next, we can trust that God will provide us with everything that we will ever need. We shouldn't worry about having a lot or having a little. God will always provide everything we need. After all, our wants will always change. Do you remember a toy that you wanted so badly, it was all that you could think about? It probably made you happy for a little while, but after a while, that toy got old. Happiness doesn't come from the things in our lives. Long-lasting contentment comes from knowing that God will always provide our needs. God wants us to be content. Let's say our bottom line one more time. Learn to be content. 1, 2, 3. Learn to be content. Well, that's all we have for you today. We can't wait to see you next time. Bye.